So why would anybody want to go and lose money? Short this space and make money that way. Shitcoins a day in, day out. Shitcoin in India. Shitcoin in Africa. Shitcoins in Russia. Shitcoins in India, in Africa. Shitcoins in Russia, in Belarus, in China. Are you guys crazy? Are you guys nuts? Why do you need blockchain? Not even the US of Trump. It's all bullshit. This system is the most centralized system ever. The Winklevoss brothers and others. Are you guys nuts? Shitcoins in India, in Africa. Shitcoins in Russia, in Belarus, in China. Are you guys crazy? Are you guys nuts?
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So it's Monday, back on the grind. We had 2 straight days with no news videos. What did we miss? Well, it seems like we missed something. Let's have a look. Let's dive in. Let's see what's going on. I'm sure some of you already know what's happening, but let's just take it step by step. So if you woke up this morning and you're having a look at any of these charts, whether it be Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Stellar, Neo, XRP, Cardano, IOTA, Monero, Dash, you get the point. You're up today. So why is this? Well, obviously it's because David Beckham and Brian Armstrong were hanging out over the weekend, and David Beckham put in a massive buy order on Coinbase. Just kidding. That's not the reason at all, but they were hanging out. That's pretty cool. So let's actually have a look at CoinMarketCap, see what's going on. Bitcoin dominance, you'll notice, is up 0.3%. Now, when I went to sleep last night, we were at around 202 billion. It is now currently $211 billion, so that's quite a pump to wake up to overnight. Now, why is this? What is the case? Well, we will get into that, but the first thing that sticks out like a sore thumb is this guy over here, Tether. Now, isn't this supposed to be the stablecoin USDT $1? It's currently trading under 96 cents right now. And the interesting thing is, if you look at some of the competitors, you have USD coin at $1.08, Gemini dollar at $1.04, True USD at $1.08, and Paxos standard token at $1.07. So what is going on? We'll get to it in a minute. Let's just really quick check the biggest gainers and then we'll move on. So we have Aurora Coin up 24%, Bytecoin, which is strange because it just got those delistings, but it's up 17%, Komodo up 16, Kyber 14, Mixin 11, Holo 9, MOAC, Theta, Bitcoin Gold, and Stratus. Now, the thing that I do want to point out, however, and I don't mean to bring down the room, is Bitcoin did have a massive pump. So if we do switch this to the Bitcoin comparative, you will notice that there's not exactly as much green across the board. In fact, a lot of people were selling the alts into Bitcoin during that rush. So I just wanted to point that out. But hey, US dollar, we'll take it, right? I mean, I always get sad when my portfolio goes down in Bitcoin comparative, but it still is up. And usually what'll happen is some of those profits will get redistributed back into the alts. Probably not too much, but I'm sure that the alts will see some kind of a little mini pump, you know, within the next day or two. So that's something to definitely look forward to. So what the heck happened anyway? Well, newsflash, here we go. Bitcoin surges to $7,500 on Bitfinex due to Tether implosion. Real price around 6,700, although we know it's currently a little bit lower than that right now. So the price of Bitcoin has surged from 6,300 to 7,500 on Bitfinex. So basically, given the premium on True USD, a regulated, audited, and Ethereum-based stablecoin against Tether, it's evident that traders are selling massive amounts of USDT to purchase cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum or invest into other stable coins, as we just saw before. All the other stable coins are well above $1. So many analysts in the cryptocurrency market believe that the algorithm in Asia has started to inject large amounts of cash into major cryptocurrencies, and dropping the price of Tether is merely a coincidence. At this point, whether the rise in the price of Bitcoin was initiated by the sell-off of Tether or an influx of capital from Asia is less significant, but over the past 12 hours, the volume of Bitcoin has increased from 3 billion to 4.48 billion, escaping its yearly low mark. That made me very happy because we were sitting quite low with volume. I think a lot of people were just sort of hanging out, chilling, afraid to really make any moves. They weren't sure what was going on. So if we come down here and we look, you have Bitcoin's trajectory. So if Bitcoin can surpass the $6,800 resistance level in the short term, it will be possible for the crypto market to initiate a long-awaited rally to the upside. However, if Bitcoin fails to break out of a major resistance level, then there exists a possibility that the dominant cryptocurrency struggles to maintain momentum and could fall back to $6,000. So, welcome to Bitcoin. Now, this is the chart we've been looking at. I actually removed the lines we had here because we completely broke through resistance, so I just got rid of the whole wedge. It's useless at this point. As you can see right here, we were coming down. We were basically just trying to break out of this level right here. We skyrocketed all the way up to 7,700. You can see right here on the green top of the wick, and then it plummeted all the way back down to 6,800. But keep in mind that this is on Bitfinex. If we switch over to Coinbase, you'll see right here, Coinbase is actually sitting around a $6,387 Bitcoin, which is why, currently, if we give this a little bit of a quick refresh, you'll see that Bitcoin's actually sitting around 6,648. So, a lot of confusion. Possible opportunity for arbitrage if you're down. I was actually trying to figure out a way to arbitrage between these stable tokens earlier, but finally I was looking at it. I was like, well, what am I going to make on 8 cents? Maybe a couple $100. So I was just like, whatever. Somebody out there is making money, but I'm making a video. So what else could have caused some of this? Well, they had an official announcement from Kucoin this morning that said that USDT deposits and withdrawals were temporarily closed. Now, they said this was just routine maintenance, which probably was, but a lot of people were a little concerned about that. And then at the same time, during the fiasco, you have a fiat deposit update from Bitfinex that says all cryptocurrency and fiat withdrawals are and have been processing as usual without the slightest interference. All fiat withdrawals are processing. Fiat deposits have been temporarily paused for certain user groups. That's very, very interesting. And then not to mention, there was this fake news circulating around. It was all USDT related. It was saying that Binance was looking to delist Tether. So people were freaking out about that. This is what it looked like over here. Now, some people pointed out the fact how it didn't look legit because Tether big scam. Like, first of all, actually this was retweeted by CZ from Binance, and this is Box Mining, and he said fake, saw this floating around and it's obviously fake. Binance is very politically correct and will never write Tether big scam. It doesn't even make grammatical sense. This is just as bad as the Vitalik is dead scam last year. And I recently tweeted Binance CZ, he was just like, the FUD is unreal or something like that, he said earlier. So that had a lot to do with basically all this stuff that was going on. Now, if you don't really know exactly what the deal is with Tether or why it could be such a big issue, there's also this article that came out recently, and it's why crypto traders are so worried about Tether. So it goes on to, explain like the deal, the fact that they've really never done proper audits. A lot of people are questioning, is it really backed one for one? What if it's not? And the other thing too, that's something to worry about, is it's not just a Bitfinex problem, but it's also a problem with all these other exchanges as well. I mean, Binance holds a lot of USDT as well, right? So what happens if they find out that it's insolvent or it's not backed one-to-one? What is that going to do to, Binance's book? How's that going to affect them? So it's a really big issue. And this is the thing that people have been worried about all this time, is the ability for Tether to just essentially print fake money, kind of like the same problem that we have with the dollar, right? But what if they're printing virtual currencies that aren't actually backed by anything, and this is the major currency? I mean, it's number 10. Or Tether's number 8. So it's definitely something to consider, and it is really, really scary. So yeah, that's basically the issue that's going on this morning. It's a little bit hectic, it's a little bit crazy, but like I said, welcome to Bitcoin. So moving on to some other news. What else did we miss? Oh, well, our good friend Dr. Doom, he was really, really in the news all weekend. So now he has this that comes out. He says, all afternoon, a bunch of crypto cyber terrorists have been trying to hack my Twitter account. I received 15 false email requests for password changes. So after insulting me nonstop and having 0 points to rebuke my 30-page Senate testimony, they are now retreating to outright terror. You have Ken Bosak saying, crybaby, LOL, your mom raised a little bitch, grow some balls or turn on airplane mode, you noodle. Oh, Ken Bozak. So, yeah, I don't know. This guy's been blocking people on Twitter left and right, just basically outright shutting them out. I wanted to also give credit to the Pomp over here. He basically gave him a little bit of a bet. He responded to this. He said, crypto is the best performing asset class in the last 5 years. I'll make a bet with you. Pick any asset you want. If Bitcoin doesn't outperform it in the next 5 years, I'll donate $10,000 to charity of your choice. If Bitcoin wins, you have to donate $10,000 to a charity of my choice. And he ended up responding, basically saying, no, thank you. Where was it? Oh, he says, no thanks. As I wrote in my Senate testimony, I have never had any long or short position in crypto to keep my intellectual independence and avoid any conflict of interest. Unlike you, I don't spend 24/7 talking about my book, I guess, or your talk is biased as your net worth depends on crypto success. But you know what? This is a tweet from April 16th, 2013. I'd be pretty salty too if I missed out on investing in Bitcoin at $58. Just saying. Just saying. Now, one thing I wanted to talk about, this isn't exactly related to Nouriel Roubini specifically. I genuinely believe that the guy hates Bitcoin. Like, I actually believe he really doesn't like the thing. But I know that there has been a lot of FUD in the news. We're very familiar with this. And I want you to be very, very aware of why this FUD is created, what that manipulation does, and what these guys are doing in the background. Like I said, probably not this dude. But here's an interesting video that I found. Now, this video is called FUD High, Then Buy Low. How the Rich Get Richer, the Great Cryptocurrency Conspiracy. It's a 17-minute video. I will drop it in the links below. I definitely suggest you find 17 minutes of your day to please watch this video, and you will realize how screwed up and corrupt the whole system is. I wanted to drop a few excerpts right here to kind of show you some of the stuff that goes on in the background relating to traditional markets as well as to current examples in Bitcoin. So here we go.
But they are feasting on our savings, and it's an enormous robbery. Quite honestly,
it's a huge transfer of wealth that's happening right now. The last time I saw something like this was back during 1994 to 1995. In the early to mid 90s, individuals were making just enormous amounts of money buying companies like Dell, AOL, Microsoft, Netscape, and some of these smaller internet stocks. And the institutions had completely missed that bull market. And so they were scoffing at these so-called lemmings. And so during 1994 to 1995, we had a bit of a bear market. And so, again, institutions were out saying that, oh, anybody buying internet stocks, you're idiotic. And so you had a lot of people selling their AOL, selling their Microsoft, selling their Dell shares. Guess who was buying? It was the institutions. If you look at a chart of institutional allocation to venture capital internet deals, it doubled between 1994 to 1995, which was exactly when institutions were saying, oh, this is just a market for idiots. Mm-hmm. Nobody should be buying this stuff. Mm-hmm. So they literally stole all this wealth that should have been in the hands of individuals that owned Dell, Microsoft, and AOL. And then from 1995 to 2000, of course, we saw $5 trillion come into the market, and the biggest bull market we've ever seen. So this blueprint of creating fear in order to get cheap prices is nothing new. On September 12th, Jamie Dimon says Bitcoin is a fraud. He says he'll fire any one of his traders buying Bitcoin. Bitcoin drops 24%. When Jamie Dimon speaks,
people listen.
People listen. So that weekend, we found out that the largest buyer of a Bitcoin fund that's in Europe that buys physical Bitcoin, right? The largest buyer was Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan. And that's not illegal.
He says it's a fraud.
It says he'll fire anyone that buys it. Yes.
And at the same time, his company is buying it.
His company is buying it.
So it's just, so unethical.
Right.
Okay, George Soros.
George Soros, in January 24th, price was already down, calls Bitcoin a bubble, says Bitcoin is the worst, the worst investment in the world. Don't buy Bitcoin. Don't buy Bitcoin. Basically throws gasoline on the fire at this point. And then what do we find out? So he says bubble here.
It drops 44%.
Right. And then here in April, 2 months later, guess what we find out?
Yeah.
His $26 billion family office has approval to buy cryptocurrency.
Right. And we only knew about it publicly here. And
yes.
this is the kind of thing that George Soros is famous for this, talking the sterling down.
Yeah.
And what did he do? He stole the pensions of all the little people.
Yeah, made $1 billion.
Yeah. Okay.
So then here now, Goldman Sachs, this, again, February 7th, most cryptocurrencies will crash to zero. Now, I remember when they said this in February, and I had, through my network, I knew that Goldman Sachs was setting up a crypto trading desk. Absolutely knew they were setting up a crypto trading desk. And
I remember you telling me that.
Right. And then, of course, they were denying it. No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not. Price falls down 27%. And then what do we find out? We find out here, they say BTC 0. And then we find out just before May, new trading desk. Not only that, they put $400 million to buy a cryptocurrency trading platform. Okay, so February 7th, it's all going to zero. May, we just spent $400 million just on a flyer.
And they're not the only ones.
No.
So without going into too much detail, I think you basically understand the gist of what I'm trying to say. And when you look over here at where we are you kidding? This is Bitcoin. And let me move this over. I know I'm in the way. This is where we're afraid to buy in at? Right here? So many ads. This right here? So, I don't know. For me, guys, I'm accumulating. I've been accumulating. Yeah, this is, for me, it's accumulation time. So I'm just stacking up on crypto, but not financial advice. Do whatever you want. I assume since you're watching the channel, though, you probably have somewhat similar beliefs as well. Now, what else did we miss over the weekend? Well, we had Charles Hoskinson from the Cardano Foundation. They're saying Cardano's not executing on its core responsibilities. So you had Charles and also the CEO of Emergo publishing a joint statement on the IOHK blog with the title, An Open Letter to the Cardano Community from IOHK and Emergo. The purpose of the statement was to explain why they were disappointed by the performance of the Cardano Foundation, to ask the Cardano Foundation Council to subject itself to a full audit, to ask for the resignation of the chairman of the Cardano Foundation, and to announce that IOHK and Emergo were going to take over the main responsibilities of the Cardano Foundation until at least 2020. So the open letter starts by explaining that when Cardano first started in 2015, instead of launching an all-powerful foundation that would raise funds, manage development, encourage adoption, and address the concerns of the community, it was decided to diligently split the governance of Cardano into 3 legal entities, IOHK, Emergo, and the Cardano Foundation. The hope was that all the separation of power would ensure that the failure of one legal entity, if any, could not jeopardize or destroy the Cardano project. So the responsibilities are as follows. Essentially, IOHK was responsible for developing the core collection of protocols that compose Cardano. Emergo was responsible for building partnerships with developers and instigating projects for the Cardano protocol. And the Cardano Foundation was basically created to promote the Cardano protocol, to grow and inform the community, although it seems like IOHK has really been doing a lot of the promotion when you really look at it. So the joint statement says that for the past 2 years, there's been a great frustration in the Cardano community and ecosystem, which has been caused by a lack of activity and progress on the assigned responsibilities of the Cardano Foundation. They go on to discuss a few other issues, which include lack of strategic vision, absence of a clear public plan, lack of transparency, material misrepresentations, lack of financial transparency, lack of complete and diverse foundation council, lack of any concept of how the millions of dollars committed to the foundation will benefit the Cardano community, and also absence or unawareness of any meaningful internal governance system. So they also note that since the Cardano Foundation is an independent legal entity governed by its council, there's no way to force the chairman of the foundation, Michael Parsons, to resign. So all that IOHK and Emergo can do is hope that reason will persuade Mr. Parsons to voluntarily step down in order to allow for regulatory oversight and avoid the foundation continuing to be an ineffective entity. So there you go. I know it was a lot to take in, I know, but it was a really big deal. A lot of people were talking about it over the weekend, so I just wanted to summarize it because I didn't talk about it over the past 2 days. If you guys hadn't seen it, Charles Hoskinson, he also had a little bit of a live stream that he did the other day where he kind of went in to discuss his situations as well. Also, I forgot to put it in the slide, but this morning I checked it, and CryptoLark actually sat down with Charles Hoskinson as well to discuss it a little further. So if you're interested, definitely go over to his channel. They just did an interview just this morning. So that's that's more about Cardano. Now, before we get into crypto news, I just wanted to talk about this article real quick. And I know it's a little bit off topic, but is the ICO market dead? I know this is kind of old news, but this guy, Danny, he kind of had an outlook of an approach that he thinks it really needs to be revamped. It needs to be relooked at. One of the things he talks about right in the beginning is that he says some changes are required from both participants in the market. He says developers should focus on projects that bring value to the world, have solid economical skeleton, create tokens that have a real use case, and be transparent and accountable. And he also urges that investors should educate themselves, do their due diligence, evaluate the projects, measure the risk, have patience, and never make decisions based on emotions. But this we all know, right? So going down a little lower here, he says it's obvious that the model of traditional ICOs will no longer work as investors no longer trust in it. No matter how good the team is, how great the product is, how well they've marketed, blockchain developers must focus on protecting the contributors. So here are a few minor yet significant changes that can be made. So one, he says that capital must be raised on stages and it should be clear what the funds will be used for, development, marketing, etc. Once each stage is completed, a major part of the raised amount is to be invested in development, and results must be shown before the next fundraising stage begins. If you guys don't know, 3 years ago, I built the house that I'm living in. Same thing. The bank would not release the funds until the foundation was cleared and inspected. Everything was great. Then we did the framework, right? Had to get that checked and inspected, right? You weren't allowed more funds until you proved that you were able to build what you said you were able to do. So I agree with this. Also, he says projects that start without MVP basically have zero value of their token. Therefore, the price should be set at a minimum in the beginning. Yes, I agree. I think that you should have some type of an MVP. I mean, have you guys ever watched Shark Tank? Can you imagine going on Shark Tank, or Dragon's Den, or wherever country you're watching from, and being like, well, I have a great idea for a project, but it's just a white paper right now. Can you imagine? Do you think those guys would invest? I definitely don't. And then finally, to protect investors' interest, tokens should be listed on exchanges after there is a functional product where the token is utilized. This will certainly increase the holding period to 12 or 18 months, but will result in investor satisfaction. Also, it'll avoid speculation, pump and dumps, etc. Because as soon as it's released, you have a working product, you have a token, it has utility, we can use it. People may actually use it instead of just being like, what do I do with this damn thing, right? So have a look at this article. I'll drop it below. Just wanted to talk about it. I know ICOs, they're not really the big talk of discussion right now, but just wanted to bring it up. Let's get into some coin news. So we have, in an interview, Ripple's chief marketing strategist, Corey Johnson, says Ripple has discussed XRP with, dun dun dun, the Trump administration? What? All right, let's look into this. So, in a response to a question about the administration's take on Ripple, Johnson told Breaker the White House is doing an impressive amount of research on crypto at large. There's clearly a lot of homework going on. The White House in particular seems to be thinking about what it means to have 80% of Bitcoin mining taking place in China and a majority of ETH mining taking place in China as well. I wonder how they feel about that.
China all the time. China.
When you look at XRP, there is no mining. So from a foreign control aspect or from an environmental aspect, XRP is a very different beast. And in conversations we've had with the administration, they seem to get that and think that that might matter. Also, on a side note, a lot of people were asking, well, when is the SEC going to come out with, what they think XRP is? Is it a security token? Is it a utility token? Which one is it? To be honest with you, they say that they may never come out with this because if you think about it, do you really think the SEC wants to classify every single token one by one? No, mine's a utility. Mine's this. Mine's that. Mine's gas. No, they're not going to want to do all that. But it is interesting to see that they are talking to the Trump administration. So that's just more news from XRP as well. Now, talking about exchanges, I just did a video on 0x yesterday. Decentralized exchanges, they have not gone away. They're not going away. You're going to see more of them popping up. Get used to it. That's just the thing that's going to be happening. Now let's talk about Switcheo. They were one of the first to really do the whole NEP5 tokens. Now they have Ethereum as well. So the update, they say that the wallet manager that they have now features a much clearer interface, plus the laid out instructions for traders who are using the Ledger Nano S hardware wallet to trade for the first time is also much easier. I've used Ledger Nano S on Switcheo. Simple, was really, really easy to use. I had a great experience. They said also the updated wallet gives a more holistic view of all the tokens by providing new features, including sorting and searching as well. They also say the interface is engineered to allow traders to understand their token holdings in one glance and managing them within a single screen. On the left, traders can connect and toggle between the 3 supported blockchain wallets. So you have Neo, Ethereum, and Qtum. Qtum. Nice. So to view their tokens on the right, traders can manage their deposits and withdrawals without navigating to different screen. Now, see, the last time I haven't been on Switcheo recently. I didn't even know that they added Qtum, so that's pretty cool, I guess, for some people. So on top of the Switcheo has added many top user request features such as estimated value function. A total estimated value is now shown for each wallet. As well, for each token, the value can be customized to show in either USD or BTC. So there you go. That's what we need. DEXs need to be more user-friendly. The more user-friendly they are, the more likely that people will start using them, but we still have to figure out that liquidity issue. I'm sure somebody's working on that. I know somebody's working on that. Now let's also talk about an update from ICON. So this is from Marcus from Deblock. Some of the things that this basically goes into is basically people are asking questions about the relationship with the Korean government. How is that relating to ICON? So he goes into here. There's a lot of really great content. I really don't have time to go into this whole article because that's like could literally be a whole video. But here's a few things to keep in mind. The majority of projects from Korea are those that require platforms, not build them. And as the current leading platform in Korea, ICON is focused on serving these projects, hence the business partnerships with companies like Line. They have a joint venture, Samsung Electrics, SK Planet, and Smilegate, all national leaders in their respective industries. So ICON is working on several government-backed projects in the insurance, healthcare, customs service, and education industries, and received government funding from both the Ministry of Creation and Science and the Ministry of Science, ICT, and Future Planning. He also goes in to explain some more in detail here. He has their relation with Korea National Election Committee, Council, and Jeju Governor, Seoul Governor, Mail Park Won-sung, and the S-Coin, which I'm actually going to cover real quick, KJE, Korea Blockchain Association, Korea National Assembly ex-Estonian President, and then what's next. So the one thing I wanted to talk about super quick down here was you have Seoul Mayor Park Won-sung is one of the strongest public proponents of blockchain in South Korea, and has mentioned the idea of Seoul Coin, so S-Coin, so that's going to be their own digital cryptocurrency potentially to be used within the administrations of the Seoul metropolitan government. So S-Coin was initially suggested by ICON council member KJE in 2016 to the Seoul government, and ICON Loop is currently in active talks with the government to further develop S-Coin, which will be utilized on the loop chain technology. So Mayor Park Won-sung recently revealed his master plan to turn Seoul into a blockchain hub, which involved a 100 million USD blockchain fund, as well as building the country's largest blockchain zones to facilitate more than 200 blockchain companies. So guys, this is just more reason why I personally really stand behind ICON. I really do like what they're doing. And yeah, have a read. I definitely think it's a good read. Also, I've been speaking to Marcus too, and most likely we're going to get on the channel and he's going to definitely help to clarify some of this regulation issues that are going on, what's going on with Korea related to blockchain and ICON as well, and then also what Deblock is really doing to accelerate and incubate these upcoming projects. So that is something hopefully we're going to get going. I'm going to try to get it by this week, so I'll let you guys know about that. Finally, let's talk about another thing related to China though. China threatens overseas tax havens. Will investors flock to crypto? So it says that Chinese investors rely on the Swiss offshore banking industry, Hong Kong real estate market, and foreign stock markets to hoard millions of dollars worth of properties, assets, and cash outside of mainland China. But local financial authorities have started to crack down on investors that amass significant wealth in overseas markets. So it's difficult and ineffective for the Chinese government to restrict money flowing from China to the Hong Kong real estate market, as it would require a highly impractical process of banks cooperating with the government to censor and monitor every large transaction. Oh, by the way, the whole point of this is, will investors move to crypto? Just wanted to clarify that. So it's possible for the government crack down on individual investors holding large amounts of foreign assets and cash in offshore saving accounts. So cryptocurrencies, here's the part you're all waiting for, like Bitcoin and Ethereum, remain the only alternatives outside of the Hong Kong real estate and stock market for local investors to store significant capital in. The lack of correlation between crypto and the broader financial market could appeal to investors as a safe haven against the global economy. So here's something good to note though. The over-the-counter crypto market in China still remains active subsequent to the imposition of a blanket ban by the government.
And by the way, I love China.
So that is almost the end of the news. The last thing I wanted to say real quick before we get out of here, I love speaking about adoption. So you have Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak today announced that he has become the co-founder of Equi Global, the venture capital tech innovator. So Equi Global is a technology-focused venture capital fund which combines the conventional principles of investing with a blockchain back end that allows value to be realized and then traded in the open market through the Equi token. Why am I bringing this up? Well, because the Equi token is an ERC20. It's on the Ethereum blockchain. Bam, adoption. And if that doesn't make you happy, check out this guy who was on TV on SportsCenter right here, and he has a Bitcoin thing. I think he's got the Gemini logo in the middle, and he says, "Send Bitcoin for beer." Yay! So we got Bitcoin on TV. So send this man some Bitcoin. He needs to buy some beer. So that being said, guys, I want to say thank you so much for coming back to my channel. It's Monday, back on the grind. So nice to have you guys back. Obviously, an absolute pleasure. Everyone that's been liking, subscribing, commenting, everyone that's been hopping down in the Telegram chat, everyone that's just been stopping by and saying hello. I love you guys. You're awesome. Let's do it. It's Monday. That being said, my name's K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto and peace out.